Hi, I'm Martin and I'm going to deploy an Angular app to Google Cloud. You will see every step along the way so you can do the same and deploy your Angular app. Anyone on the internet will be able to use your app and you won't have to manage any servers. Let's get started. The first step we'll do is to create an Angular app. Then we'll create a server-side app using Node.js and Express that will serve the Angular app to users and provide an API so the app can get data from the server. And finally, I'll deploy the app to Google Cloud. Okay, step one. First off, I need the Angular DevTools installed on my computer. I already do, but if you don't, go here to get them. Next, I will run ng-new to create a default Angular project. It will ask me for a project name. I will be asked if I want to use Angular routing, so I'll say yes to that. Then I'll pick CSS, the default styling choice. It will run for a little bit and create all the files needed. I can now cd to that directory and run the app from my local machine. And here it is. This is my Angular app. Great! The default Angular app is working. All right, let's make a small change. I will open the source directory, then app, and then app.component.html. I will edit this line here. And save. Here we see that it was automatically reloaded in the browser with the new content. Excellent. So we now have an environment for local development, including hot module reload when we save code. Now let's build the app for distribution. I press Ctrl-C to get back my command prompt. Then I'll run ng-build to build the app for deployment. Here we see that some files were created in the dist directory. Those are the files that we will deploy to the cloud later on. All right, this means that we are ready for step number 2. Now we will create a server-side Express app. It will do 2 things. 1, it will send the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files from the dist directory to the user's browser so they can run the Angular app. And 2, it will provide a server-side API that our Angular app can call. Any web app I've ever built has called an API to access a database or to run other server-side code. To create that server-side app, I'll go up 1 directory from the Angular app. Then I'll create a new Node.js app. This server-side app will use the Express package for handling HTTP requests, so let's install that. If you prefer another HTTP library, you can use that. Then I will create the file index.js. This server-side code will initialize Express, so it can respond to incoming HTTP requests and handle JSON data. Then I will tell Express to serve files from the dist directory as static files and not to try to run that code on the server. Remember, that directory contains the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS files that our Angular app built. And then I'll add code to start the Express server so it listens to incoming HTTP requests. Let's add a server-side API that our Angular app can call to get a list of pirates. When the app hits this URL, this code will run on the server. First, it will extract the ID from the URL. Then it will look up the pirate that has that ID. If no pirate was found, it will return a 404 error to the Angular app. But if the pirate was found, that pirate's record will be returned to the client in JSON format. Now, in the finished app, this getPirate function would probably look up pirates in a database. But just to get off the ground quickly, let's hardcode some of my favorite pirates here. All right, the server-side code is done. Let's run it on my machine. It's convenient to have an npm script for this, so I will go to package.json for the server-side app and enter this start command. We can use that command ourselves, and once we deploy the app to the cloud, Google will look for the start command and run it for us. I will also add a type module here so that import statements work the way we expect them to. Let's run that start command. All right, the server is running on this port on my local machine. Let's go there with the browser. Very nice. Our server-side app sent us the Angular app files, so I'm now running that app in my browser. Now, let's take a look at that API. I will ask for pirate number 3 by entering /API/pirates/3. And there it is, in JSON format. The API is ready to be used by our Angular app. But let's move on to the third and last step. We're going to deploy this app to Google Cloud. First, let's create a project in Google Cloud for our app. I'll go to console.cloud.google.com. Then I'll click through here. And here I can click this button to create a new project. If this is my first project on Google Cloud, I will also need to set up billing. We will use Cloud Run, which is serverless, so it has no fixed monthly cost. It will only charge us when our app is actively creating a response to a user's request. What does that mean? Well, in this chart, our container is listening for incoming HTTP requests for the entirety of the dark gray bar at the top. The blue bars are requests. The green bars show what we're getting billed for. As you can see, when no blue request is being processed, there's a gap in the green billing bars. We aren't charged for that time. In other words, if our app gets 1,000 requests per day, and each request takes 1 second to process, we will only be charged for 1,000 CPU seconds, not for 24 hours. We may even be charged less than that, actually, if some requests overlap, like the blue bars in the graph. The first 200,000 CPU seconds each month are free with Cloud Run, and there's also a free tier for memory usage. You can find all the details about the free tier and the cost if you go beyond the free tier here on the Cloud Run's pricing page. In practice, this free tier means that none of my development or testing projects have cost me anything. It's only when I got serious production level traffic that I've had to actually pay for Cloud Run. Having said all that, for the rest of the steps in this guide to work, you do need to create your billing account here. If this is your first Google Cloud project, you get a $300 credit. All right, now let's get ready to deploy the Angular and Express apps to Google Cloud. This is done with a gcloud command line tool, and here are the installation instructions. I've installed that on that tool on my machine already, so I will now authenticate with gcloud auth login. This will give me access to my projects in Google Cloud. We see here that the gcloud tool tells us that we should set our current project. That is a good idea. Then we won't have to enter our project ID over and over again. Looks like we need our project's ID. We can find that here in the Cloud Console. Let's copy that. And then I'll use the gcloud tool to set our current default project. All right, let's deploy our app to Cloud Run. I'll enter gcloud run deploy and what I would like the Cloud Run service to be called. I can have multiple Cloud Run services in my project. The gcloud tool will ask me where their source code is. It's in the current directory, so I'll just hit enter. Then it asks me if I want to enable some APIs in my project. To help with security, Google requires us to turn on each API we want to use in our project. I will enter Y to enable them. Next, I get to decide where in the world this code will run. Any internet user will be able to access the app, but it'll be slightly faster for users close to the location I pick. US Central 1 sounds good to me, so I'll enter 30. Next, it asks me if I want to create an artifact registry in my project. That's where all the versions of my built app will be stored, making it easy to roll back to a previous version if I need to. I accept by hitting Y. This question will not come up next time I deploy my app. Now, it asks me about unauthenticated invocations to my app. Do I want my application to be reachable by anyone on the internet? I do, so I hit Y again. And now it's building and deploying my app. This will take a few minutes, so I'll refill my cup of tea. And I'm back. The deployment succeeded, and here it shows me the URL that our app is served from. Let's open that in a browser. Look at that! There is our Angular app. It is now on the public internet, ready for anyone to use. Let's also make sure that the server-side API works. I'll enter /API/pirate/2 after the base URL. And there is a pirate record. Both the client-side Angular app and the server-side API now work from the cloud. We've created an Angular app, created a server-side Node.js app, and deployed them to Google Cloud for all the world to enjoy. Now, there are a few more things you'd need to make a good web app that's ready for customers. Your own domain name, a database, and user authentication. Let's start with the domain name. The URL that Cloud Run generated for us is fine for development and testing, but we'd probably want to use our own domain name before we send real users to our app. Let's go back to console.cloud.google.com in our project. I'll click the hamburger menu and scroll down to Serverless and Cloud Run. Here is our Cloud Run service and any others we may create in the future. If I click the service, I get this page where I can view metrics for it, I can set service level objectives, I can check the logs, and so on. But we want integrations right now. I'll add an integration, and I'll pick custom domains here. Here I'll enter my domain name that I previously bought. And enable some APIs. This will set up a load balancer that points to my Cloud Run service. It will also create a certificate so people can use HTTPS when accessing my domain. When the APIs have been enabled, I'll click this Submit button. After a few minutes, it will show me the DNS changes I will need to make with my DNS hosting provider. So I did all this for my domain already, and this is what it looks like when done. By the way, this load balancer will carry a fixed monthly cost of about $20. All right, that was the domain name. What about the database? Well, there are plenty of choices of databases in Google Cloud. If you prefer relational databases, Cloud SQL is a popular choice, but there are others as well. If you like NoSQL databases or document databases, you may want to use Firestore instead. By the way, I really like Firestore because it's completely serverless, so it has no fixed monthly cost, and it comes with a free tier. Also, it has a client-side API, so clients can access the database directly without any server-side code, if you wish to set it up that way. Finally, many web applications need to authenticate their users. Let's talk about that. It takes a lot of work to build login functionality yourself. And it's kind of dangerous too. You might leave a security hole open. I know I've done that in the past in my hobby projects. To avoid that, I prefer using Firebase authentication. It lets users log in with their existing accounts from Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, and others. Or users can create a new account specifically for your app with their email and a password they pick. Firebase authentication takes care of it all for you. So there you have it, the 3 steps to publish your Angular app to the world using Google Cloud. In my opinion, the best way to build an app is to focus on your users and what they need. Don't waste time on server maintenance, networking, scalability, and so on. Google knows how to run production web apps at scale and can take care of that for you. That means that you can launch version 1.0 of your app sooner. And version 2.0 of your app will be able to serve thousands or millions of users because it runs on Google infrastructure. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please enter them in the comments. Also, let me know if there are any other serverless topics that you'd like to hear about in future episodes. I read every single comment. I can't wait to see what you build. Until next time!